O Block is one of the most famous hoods in the world. It's a wild place full of crime and violence, and you gotta be a real savage to survive it. And today, we're breaking down the story of one of O Block's most dangerous shooters, a dude named Big A who had all the ops shook. Let's get right to it. Big A came up in O Block at the same time as Chief Keef, King Von, and all the other big names. He was also tight with dudes like T-Roy and O.D. Perry. Not much is known about his early life, but Big A had a lot of respect in the O, and rumors say he was one of the most active shooters in the set. Back in the day, O Block wasn't as active as it is now. There's been gang activity in the area since the 80s, but the situation didn't start getting out of control till 2011 when a GD from STL EBT named Tuka was shot and killed at a bus stop. Tuka's death was a huge loss for the GDs. He was a well-liked kid who got caught up in the streets, and his murder started a huge wave of violence. One of his best friends was a girl named K.I., who rep STL EBT. She got active after her dad and brother both got murdered, and Tuka's death pushed her even deeper into the streets. Nobody knows exactly why Tuka was killed, but rumors say it was revenge for a BD named Edric Walker. And even though Tuka's murder never got solved, a lot of people think a BD named O.D. Perry was one of the shooters. O.D. and Big A was close, and O.D. was one of the most respected dudes from O Block. It's not clear if he was involved with Tuka's death, but Lil Reese says all the ops were afraid of him. 8 months after Tuka died, K.I. and FPG Butta allegedly slid into op territory on Tuka's birthday and caught O.D. riding his bike down the street. According to rumors, K.I. started letting off shots and killed him as revenge for Tuka. O.D.'s death is what really set off the war in Chicago. There's different rumors about who was actually behind the murder, but K.I. became one of O Block's biggest ops after he was murdered. She was only around 14 at the time, but K.I. was allegedly taking shots at the ops every chance she had. Over the next few years, she became one of the most active GDs in the city, and it's rumored she was involved in over 10 shootings. She allegedly killed Chief Keef's cousin Blood Money on April 10, 2014, and the next day, she got chipped after posting her location on Twitter. K.I. and Butter were both on their way to FBG Wooski's place when someone ran up on them and started shooting. Butter survived, but K.I. was hit 9 times and pronounced dead at the hospital. Nobody was ever arrested for K.I.'s death. Some people think King Von was involved, and paperwork shows he was the cops' #1 suspect, but others think Big A was actually the one behind the trigger. After K.I. died, Big A started going by the name Aski. There's rumors it stood for Ask K.I., but that was never confirmed. Dudes like Lil Reese and Boss Top shouted out Von on Twitter after she was killed, but FBG Butta says Aski was the shooter. Butta was there when it went down and got hit too, so if anyone actually knows who killed K.I., it's him. It's not clear what Aski was getting into for the next couple of years, but in December 2016, he was shot to death right across the street from O Block inside of Sammy's Grill and Restaurant. At first, police said Aski was in a restaurant when 2 shooters came in and started letting off shots. That's not how it actually went down. According to reports that came out later, 3 dudes who weren't from the area were in Sammy's getting food. That's when some dudes from O Block saw him and went to go get some backup. They came back with like 8 dudes, and Aski and one dude went into Sammy's to press the other guys. Aski walked in with his gun, and one of the dudes inside Sammy started letting off shots as soon as he saw it. Aski got hit and fell to the ground. He dropped his gun, and that's when one of the other dudes picked it up and shot Aski twice in the head with his own gun. The O Block dudes outside started shooting too, and it turned into a full-on shootout. The dudes who killed Aski got hit too, but they managed to hop in their whip and make it to the hospital and get treatment. According to the official report, the dude who started shooting first ended up getting hit in the calf, and one of his homies was shot several times in the lower body. The whole thing was caught on surveillance cameras, and Aski's killers got off on self-defense claims. The dude who killed Aski is named Joshua Golston. He told the police that him and his homies was at the club that night, then they decided to go get some food. They tried to go to McDonald's first, but it was around 3 in the morning and it was already closed. That's when Golston remembered that Sammy's was open 24 hours, so the 3 of them headed there instead. Golston says they saw 3 dudes coming behind them while they were ordering, but they left a few minutes later. That's when Aski walked in and asked Golston where he was from. Golston saw Aski strapped with an extended magazine in his hoodie pocket, and he decided to start shooting before Aski shot first. Aski's death was a huge L for O Block. He was one of the most respected dudes they had, and he got killed because he tried to press the wrong people. Then, just a couple months later, O Block took another big loss when Aski's homie T-Roy was shot and killed. T-Roy allegedly took out a lot of ops in the early 2010s, like this dude named Baby Doc from STL EBT in April 2012. That rumors say, a few months later, he murdered another STL EBT member named Boss Trail. Trail was a widely respected GD who allegedly killed Sharroy from O Block, and his death was a major loss for STL EBT. He allegedly also killed a Black P Stone named Stunna in 2013, but in February 2017, T-Roy got caught outside of a shoe store and was killed by a GD named TB. T-Roy was allegedly trying to hunt down TB for dissing O-Block, but he got spotted by FBG Brick in Op territory. Brick called up TB and let him know where T-Roy was at. TB killed him while he was walking out of a store. According to rumors, T-Roy just smiled at TB and said, "You got me," when he saw him. T-Roy reached for his burner, but TB shot and killed him before he could grab it. Aski and T-Roy's deaths set off another wave of violence in the city. T-Roy's brother HK formed Get Back Gang to get revenge on the dudes who took his brother out. He allegedly took out a dude named Poppy from Taekwon World, FBG Brick, and his cousin Kobe Mack, and TB. HK went on a brutal rampage over T-Roy's death. Before T-Roy died, he wasn't really active in the streets, but in just a few months, he allegedly murdered 4 Opps. Then, in November 2017, a group of shooters ambushed him outside of O-Block and killed him. Dudes like Aski and T-Roy have a lot of respect in O-Block, but they're also responsible for a lot of senseless death and violence. Both sides have lost so many people to the gang war in Chicago that it's almost impossible to keep track of it all. Some dudes have made it out, like Chief Keef and Lil Durk, but anyone they didn't bring with them is still stuck in the trenches just trying to survive. Hopefully one day the violence will stop, but right now, it don't seem like the BDs and GDs will squash anything soon. Rest in peace to Aski and everyone else who lost their lives to street violence.